There's a lot of research which shows that a lot of countries that put a strong emphasis on raising, like the UK did for about 13 years, on raising levels of literacy. That is to say, young people's ability to read has two effects. Those programs have two effects. One is it does raise their levels of reading ability somewhat, although a recent academic study in the UK shows that that approach, which is called the National Literacy Strategy in the UK, that those small benefits seem to be mostly down to teachers learning to prepare kids for tests better. Right? So a large part of that apparent benefit was strategic, and teachers are good at knowing how to get kids to learn to a particular thing. But the other important thing that comes out of all this research is at the same time as you're helping kids learn to read slightly better, too much pressure, making it too much instrumental and too much like hard work, has the effect of lowering significantly kids' pleasure in reading. That's a lot of the international research shows that. Question, is that a price worth paying? You get kids who can read a bit better, but don't. It's like if I ask you whether you can play the piano, some of you might say yes, you know, up to grade 5 or whatever you did. But if I ask you, do you play the piano, I might get a different answer, right? Well, I used to, but since the children came, or since I got my promotion, or something or other. In other words, I can, but I don't, right? So is it worth producing kids with respect to reading who can but don't? Well, no, it isn't. Because it turns out that one of the most powerful predictors of young people's success in life, you take an 11-year-old and try and say, what is it about that 11-year-old which predicts how well they're doing when they're 30? Right? Are they out of jail? Are they off drugs? Have they got a job? Are they basic indicators of social well-being? There are a number of things. Parental level of education is a predictor. Parents' interest in their children's education is a predictor, obviously. But in the surveys that I'm aware of, even more powerful than that as a predictor of how well kids are going to be doing when they're 30 is, guess what? Their pleasure in reading. Pleasure in reading. And does that surprise you? It did first for me. It's like, how could that be such an important predictor? And then I thought, well, there's all the difference in the world between giving the kids the key that opens the door of literacy and giving them the desire, the passion to walk through that door and benefit from all the wonderful things on the other side. Yeah? If you make that door a scary door, an onerous door, a boring door, then you can train them to turn the key, but you might at the same time have trained them not to want to walk through it and become self-educating, self-expanding, imagination-growing youngsters.